video that I released previously that shows the Death Star over Philadelphia. Um, this process was done with Final Cut Pro, and it was also done with a very helpful plugin for Final Cut Pro called TrackX from Cormelt.com. You can get the link on the original video. So, um, what do we need? Well, what I did is I just took some iPhone film, just clips from around Philadelphia, and I took pieces of that film. So let's start with this one. So this is a film I took outside of Planet Fitness, and what happened in this film is I panned way too far over to the left, and that's not going to be really practical for tracking. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to select part of the film that I know would work with tracking, because it's not too. I mean, it could work with the entire film. It would involve a lot more work, and actually, it probably would have worked out fine. But it's not something that I felt like really doing too carefully. This is just a demo proof of concept video. So how do we go ahead and do this? Well, I also did another thing, which is I downloaded an image of the Death Star. I imported the image, and I turned it into a composite clip. So let me go ahead and demonstrate that real quick. Import media. I'm going to look into my downloads, and I'm going to look for Death Star JPEG. Okay, I'm going to import that one. Okay, so now it's just the image inside of my media, and I'm going to drag it down. Okay, and then it's sitting there. But the next step is to make a new compound clip. Now, in the video with you see the Death Star faces two different directions. So what I had to do is I had to align it with the sun. Otherwise, the shadow is going to not look right. So if you look at the video, you see that the shadow is pointing towards the left. And if you look at this image here, the shadow of the Death Star is pointing, the shadow is pointing to the right in the video, and in the image of the Death Star is to the left. So then I'm just going to go to All Effects, and I'm going to search for flipped. I'm going to add that to this clip here, and that will flip it to the right, to the left, and you can control the amount of flip here. So you will want to flip it, or whatever image you use, you will want to flip it to point towards the best guess for where the sun is. Obviously, you're not going to have the sun in most of your videos because it would drown out the rest of the video. So the shadows are good clues, and you can just go from there. And now we just create a compound clip and say OK. And then that compound clip will be in your library right here. But I've already created two compound clips. One has the Death Star pointing to the left, and the other has it pointing to the right, and I have a bit scaled. So now we're going to go ahead and make our tracking. So we bring down a simple tracker from the C2 Track X plugin under generators, and we're going to make it fit our video. And then we move our position to the beginning, and I'm just going to click on this on the simple tracker. Actually, what I need to do is I need to go to my media and click on the simple tracker now, and then I can pick which Death Star. So again, I want the one with the shadows pointing to the right. So that's the one I want. So I drag it over into the insert layer. And if I wait too long, it's going to go away. So drag it over to insert layer, and then we have the layer for the composite. for the tracking. And so there's multiple ways that you can do this. They have really neat tools. Um, this way is slower, so this way would select the entire area. So what I actually did is I said, well, this pole is completely in the shot and the building's completely in the shot for all the frames that I selected. So I'm just going to create something along those lines. So I start there and draw all the way down, and then this part of the building is clear, and then I'm just going to draw it up, create a square, and complete the square. Okay. All right, now I can position the Death Star where I want it. So over here we have the X offsets, so I'm going to lower it a bit, or move it to the right a bit. And then we have the Y offsets, so I'm going to lower it just a bit. And then we can scale it how big you want it. If it's too big, it's not going to look overly realistic. If it's too small, no one's going to tell it's a Death Star. So I just get it somewhere that feels right to me. It's a little too big for my taste, but we're going to leave it like that. Okay, so now we have it set up for tracking. So we are at the beginning of our clip. We have the image where we want it. We have our box area selected, and we're going to go ahead and track in forward direction. And this, I have defaults on this one. You can play around with it, different defaults, and you'll get differing results. But my experience has been that it's pretty good software. If the camera is not moving too much, just be cognizant as you make the videos that if you do any sudden jerks with your video, it's going to be very, very difficult to track that. Okay, so you can see that it's not tracking the pole perfectly, and there's different ways we could fix this. We're not going to focus too much on that. What we're going, because we're doing quite well at the bottom of that selection box. It's tracking the building quite well. So there is going to be a slight drift, but I don't think it's going to be too noticeable to our potential viewers. So we're just going to stick with that, hopefully. When we play it back, we'll get a clear perspective of how it's working. We're just going to stick with that for now. I think the gist of this video is just to show you how easy this plugin tracker is to use. I have no affiliation with the company. I needed this for a project I was doing, and this just was something I found while I was looking for a good plugin, and I have been nothing but happy with it. Okay, so now the video is complete. Well, the tracking calculations are complete, and let's just give it a play and see what it looks like. Make it large. Okay, that wasn't as good as the video that I did previously, and we can refine it to make it better. But that's just fairly acceptable for a quick home project. So looking at the options, so for example, tracking quality medium, I can make that higher, and I can do, I can play around the variables until I get it right. You can also add more area here for tracking. So these are just quick ideas for getting this right. The key I've found in my experience is just finding a good box to track it in. And by the way, you don't really need to have the image inside the tracking box, so I can offset it over here, and then if I play back the video, then the star is to the left there. So I just can offset it while the video plays too if I want to play around with it. And just be careful you don't have it sticking over, for example, stuff that's in the foreground. So here that would look totally fake because we can see the pole is being, the Death Star is overlaid over the pole, whereas if we have it somewhere in the sky here, it gives the same pallid visual that we get from looking at the moon during the daytime when we can see it during the daytime. Okay, have fun.